So, soaps and telenovelas, huh? They are quite the thing, and I have a lot of thoughts on them and the unique place they hold in Woman Love Woman rep, which, wanted or unwanted, I'll be making my next video about, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell if you're interested in that. Meanwhile, here are my top 10 Woman Love Woman soap and telenovela ships. Barcedes from Perdona, Nuestros Pecados. It started out as two high school teachers, Mercedes Moller and Barbara Roman, thrown together to direct a play in a small village in late 1950s Chile. After getting over their initial butting of heads, they go on to become fast friends that include sleepovers that have them giggling like schoolgirls, reciting Shakespeare, and all the markers that suggest sapphic longing. It featured an audacious second kiss in front of Jesus on the cross. How was that for symbolism? And after some obligatory gay panic, they decide to embark on a clandestine love affair that lasts years. For not only are they doing it in a devout Catholic society, Barbara is also married to the local chief of police. While our ladies get a reprieve in the first half of their love story, things also get pretty wild for them as the drama ratchets up, and it throws in all the tropes you can think of, both good and bad. But while you might not be blamed for expecting it to bury those gays given the darker vibe of the show in general, I will spoil this for you. They don't. They get to ride off into the sunset, so to speak. For what is the first major lesbian couple on Chilean TV, this couple pulled out pretty much all the stops with all the overwrought melodrama you'd expect. Clarina from Familia. When housewife Clara attends a gallery opening for the celebrated photographer Marina with her husband, Marina is immediately captivated and sets about seducing her, and Clara is decidedly flustered. While she claims to be happily married, going on 10 years with Cadu, who is a bit of a dreamer and terrible at bringing in the bacon, basically unemployed, her head is definitely turned. So when Marina offered to take her on as her assistant, she simply can't say no. While the women are growing closer, Marina is dealing with her jealous ex, and Clara is trying to fight what is brewing between them out of love for her husband and her son. But, well, you know that at some point things are going to reach their breaking point, and they do. Being like Perdona, Nuestros Pecados, the first major sapphic ship on a Brazilian telenovela, which is like a country institution, it was a huge deal with major pushback from religious groups, which at one point had the fandom wondering if the ladies would even get to kiss. But love won out. Perhaps because of the delicate balance that the show had to hit to pass with audiences, it ended up being a sweet, largely unproblematic ship with a happy ending. Teriah, the Young and the Restless. While they start with that excellent slow burn, slow build, soapy goodness as our ladies are drawn together through circumstances which lead to a lovely coming out story for longtime fan favourite Mariah Copeland, at its most intense moment, after she has poured out all of her feelings that she simply can't hold in anymore, the show has them having a falling out that lasts months. Perhaps this was in part to allow the traditionally conservative audiences of US soaps to wrap their head around a lesbian storyline. The thread was picked up again eventually, which saw them come back together, but the momentum of the first part of the love story, which I was definitely invested in, for me at least, was lost. Although I imagine watching the show right through now would remedy that. The soap then got them together, giving us some lovely schmaltzy coupley scenes, even eventually a love scene, some drama that had some real low moments, but, well, at least it didn't involve a dude. But for now, they are an established, pretty healthy, ongoing couple that doesn't get enough screen time. Ana y Teresa, Amar en Tiempos Revueltos. To the OG fans of this pairing, I salute you. The pure patience required to follow this pairing through 2 years and 500 plus episodes is nothing short of Herculean. I happened across them in an abridged edit that allowed me to consume their story in a far more palatable 3 hours. They appear in season 4 and 5 of the show as the main love story, and then again make guest appearances in later seasons. They are introduced at the tail end of season 3, which sees Ana and Teresa bumping into each other as Teresa is tearfully escaping a job interview at the new department store that is about to open. Ana, already entranced, arranges for Teresa to get the job, as she also happens to be the daughter of the owner of the said department store. The girls grow closer, and while Ana is far more free with her feelings and it allows her to more easily understand and accept what she is feeling, Teresa can't begin to fathom it, and so the short of it is both of them end up getting married to men. It's all twists and turns, drama, drama, and more drama, some of my least favourite tropes in the form of irrationally rage-filled men and pregnancy by non-consent. But through it all, the two ladies have such a strong and enduring attachment to each other that it is well worth the effort, and they eventually get to leave the show together. Minx from All My Children. Speaking of irrationally rage-filled men, Minx had to deal with one of those, and while it almost ruined the pairing for me, it still somehow ended up on my top 10 list. Bianca Montgomery had a number of lesbian affairs over the years, but the last one was the one that worked best for me. Bianca had come back from France with her 2 girls after splitting from her wife. Needing a lawyer to deal with the legalities, she is introduced to Marissa and they immediately hit it off. Shortly thereafter, Marissa is dealing with her own breakup. The women grow closer, their children love hanging out, they start emotionally supporting each other, and then they get kidnapped together. You know, typical soap stuff, which brings them even closer until Bianca, who recognizes a gay feeling when she has it, realizes that her interest in Marissa is not at all platonic. Cue a silly story to make Marissa happy by Bianca pushing her towards that irrationally rage-filled man because she thinks Marissa is straight. Spoiler, she is not. Followed by an awkward confession and Marissa getting all flustered and not okay with it because of course she also has feelings. It's pretty predictable but also just delightful, and though their first kiss is amongst the worst I have ever seen between 2 women, they do U-haul it as the show ended, and overall it satisfied my sweet tooth. While there was a follow-up to that cliffhanger ending, just ignore it because just do. Luimelia from Amar es para siempre. There is a spark from the moment that burlesque dancer Amelia Ledesma walks into the bar where Luisita Gomez works, and the two strike up a friendship. As they grow closer, it is revealed that Amelia is gay and Luisita is increasingly aware that she is also having feelings too, but being 1970s Spain, it is not only socially unacceptable, but actually illegal. There is angst and plenty of tension as the women inch closer together until they realize that they can't fight these feelings, making for a delightful and sweet beginning to their relationship. It is not long before the challenges of being together begin to emerge. Although it is Luisita's first love and the first time she's been attracted to a woman, once she has recognized that within herself, she is out and proud, well as out and proud as the times would allow, and faces her family without shame. While her sister and grandfather are supportive, it takes her parents a while to reconcile their daughter's sexuality. Amelia's father carts her off to conversion therapy, something the girls are not equipped to deal with, and as Amelia's career as a burlesque dancer and actress begins to take off, they face further challenges. Ultimately, however, their love wins out and the pairing have been so popular that a kind of modern-day AU has been created by the network to stream exclusively on their website called #Luimelia, which is currently in its 3rd season. Lutricia from Las Trampas del Deseo. I don't even know what to say about this ship, but this pairing is ridiculous and fun enough that it made the list. It's pretty sexy and it's very telenovela, right down to its horrific musical restraint that accompanies the duo. And it has all the intrigue and drama you'd expect. When Lucia loses her husband, Patricia seems a bit myopic in her support of her friend, to the point that the husband is making comments, and when he later reveals that he had an affair, Patricia uses it as an excuse to drop him like a hot potato and move in with Lucia. Platonically, mind you, until it isn't platonic anymore and things get messy and it's a bit on and off as both their teen daughters have opinions about what's going on. While for Patricia all of this is clearly a revelation, for Lucia, who is in grief and desperate not to lose her daughter, it's less clear where she stands, especially as her identity has primarily come from the attention she has gotten from men. Apparently, the popularity of the ship at the time influenced how it ends, that is to say, on a positive note. Vanity from Emmerdale. Charity Dingle, the resident bad girl, had a dalliance some time ago on the long-running soap Emmerdale, establishing her as bi, so it's perhaps not a surprise when she, totally out of the blue, kisses local vet Vanessa Woodfield. Vanessa had also previously fallen in love with her best friend some time before, so when it happens, despite having a pretty low opinion of Charity, she willingly falls into bed with her and so begins a no-strings-attached romp which ends up evolving into something more real. While Charity still remains her problematic self in many ways, we are treated to a lovely arc that sees her begin to really trust Vanessa, especially as she begins to finally deal with the sexual assault she suffered as a young homeless teen. While watching it live takes some fortitude because they don't get a lot of screen time, their evolution into a family is enjoyable. With Michelle Hardwick being on maternity leave, it has meant that Vanessa is currently off screen for the time being, and the couple has split up. But I fully expect that they'll get back together once she's back, which will mean some screen time for our ladies, and hopefully they'll get back together long enough to make it down the aisle, as they are engaged and have been for a while. Nicole and Harper from Shortland Street. While this pairing was clearly never meant to last and really was only used to help create obstacles between Nicole and Vinny, I actually enjoyed this pairing and wish they could have been more endgame. Nicole, a nurse, and Harper, a doctor at Shortland Street Hospital, find themselves growing closer until a spark is ignited one evening, and while Harper has been decidedly straight up until then and returns to being decidedly straight afterwards, she is happy to explore her feelings for resident bisexual Nicole. It lacks the usual gay panic, and Harper's easy acceptance of her feelings was a refreshing change from many of the other ships I've watched, and she really seems to fall in love with Nicole in a very genuine way that had me rooting for her happiness. Unfortunately, Nicole just couldn't make up her mind and honestly didn't treat Harper very well at all. While the constant presence of Vinny throughout their storyline was decidedly tiresome, I guess I was seeing the potential of the pair, and I think they would have been lovely together if they'd been given a fair shake. The fact that someone had made a YouTube playlist to help me consume it in one easy lump also helped, and well, seeing a bit of sapphic love combined with some Kiwiana and all those familiar faces reminded me of good old Aotearoa New Zealand, so this entry is definitely biased. Otalia from Guiding Light. It was my first lesbian ship, and thanks to the 2007 Hollywood writing strike, it ignited a slow burn enemies to friends to lovers storyline that lasted until the longest running TV show in history ended in 2009. When Olivia Spencer, the resident manonizer, you know what I mean, is diagnosed with a failing heart, she decides to make a play for Gus, Natalia Rivera's fiancé and then later husband, in order to not die alone. Only she doesn't die. She gets Gus's heart when he is in a fatal accident. Natalia, who obviously hates Olivia for what she's done, but feeling guilty for causing her to miss out on a heart because she locked her in a bathroom to ensure she didn't ruin the wedding day, gives her the heart. Olivia wants to die knowing that she has the heart of the man she loves beating in her chest, and Natalia is adamant that the last piece of Gus is not going to be destroyed through Olivia's death wish, and basically scrapes her up off the floor. As their contentious relationship develops with uncharacteristic selflessness and mutual care, they begin to find that they actually get along rather well, very well in fact, enough that Olivia and her delightful daughter Emma move out of the hotel suite they've been living in so that Natalia can help nurse Olivia back to health and help pay for her mortgage. And they become this family, something both women desperately need as they heal. While eye-roll-worthy Goodman Frank is an unfortunate part of the story, as well as censorship so strong they don't even get a kiss aside from the one sweepstakes smooch, religious gay panic enough to create a rage-worthy storyline because of how ridiculous it was, their chemistry and banter more than made up for it. What are your favourite woman love woman soap and telenovela ships? Comment below. If you like this type of content, like and subscribe. Until next time, lady lovers.